Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jai Hind. I hope all of you are doing well. Good evening and welcome to the session. Good evening, everyone. So I guess I am properly audible and visible to all of you. I guess that I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good evening. Yes. Okay. So first of all, welcome to the session. And in the previous session, we were discussing about the issue of Iran and Israel. We have seen some locations which were there in the news. And last day we have seen locations with respect to the attacks carried out by United States in Iran. Then if we look at the last 24 hours, the things have been changing. After the attack from US, Iran has also attacked on various military bases of US as well. Iran has attacked on military bases of US as well. So today we are going to see those locations also where Iran had just attacked. Okay. So this is one part. Now, today in the morning, a news was coming that US had said this, and US can say anything, of course, but US announced this, US president, that there is going to be a siege fire between Iran and Israel. But then we see that it has not actually taken place. There has been further escalations in this war. So this is one thing which is happening now with respect to Iran and Israel. Yes, I am quite good, and I hope that all of you are also doing well. Okay. So this is one part. Now, the topics which we are going to discuss today, one is about from India, that is Maoist operation. So this is part of internal security. This is part of this internal security. And in internal security, we are going to talk about this one issue, that in India, what is happening with respect to Maoist operation. Now, if you look at the news article, we will see that more number of women Maoists have been killed in operations carried out by security forces. Okay. We will come back to the topic. Second thing which we are going to discuss is about this organization. This will be part of IR and prelims related section, that is Organization of Islamic Cooperation, not countries, cooperation. Okay. Then we have this third one, private sector in space. This is part of your science and tech, and we are going to talk it from the mains perspective. We are going to talk it from the mains perspective. Then South Asia economic integration, it is also part of IR, and it is also from mains perspective. Then we have this one place in news also. We are going to talk about what's the different areas where Iran has carried out attacks. Okay. So these are the things which we are going to discuss in today's session. Okay. Now, before we go into that, let us see some questions. So we have this first one. Consider the following statement. Quantum communication can be used for secure military communication. That is question number 1. Second is saying quantum superposition means that two particles in quantum states are always interlinked to each other. So we have two different things. One is saying quantum communication can be used for secure military communication. Second is saying that quantum superposition means that two particles in quantum states are always interlinked to each other. They have to tell which of them is correct. Okay, one answer is C option, C option, okay. A option, C option, B option. A option. See, if we look at this, the first one is correct, that quantum communication can be used for secure military communication. That one is true. But this one, that two particles are interlinked to each other, this is the part of quantum entanglement. This is part of quantum entanglement. This is the part of quantum entanglement. Quantum superposition says that the value can be anywhere from 0 to 1. The value can be anywhere from 0 to 1. It can have multiple values at the same time. So that is what we call as quantum superposition. Quantum entanglement means that if two of them are entangled with each other or linked with each other, so they will always be linked with each other. A change in one will always mean a change in other. So that is quantum entanglement. So second is incorrect. First is correct. So answer will be A option. Okay. So here the option is A. Majority of people have gone for option C and option B. Answer is A. Now, consider the following countries: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Iraq and Jordan. How many of the above are sharing border with Iran? Only one, only two, only three, all four. The question is asking that how many of them are sharing border with Iran? How many of them are sharing border with Iran? This is question number 2. So here what will be the answer? Question number 2. C option 1, 2, 3. Yes. So I think you all know this part, that Jordan is not sharing the border. So Iraq is there, Azerbaijan is there, Armenia is there. So they are sharing border with Iran. Jordan is not sharing. So here the answer is of course quite easy, only 3. Now this is one question. This is one question. I will come to that, Mukul. I will come to your question. Which one of the following is not the most likely measure the government or RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? Okay. So here we have this one previous year question from 2019. The question is asking this part, that which of the following is not the most likely measure the government or RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? First is saying curbing imports of non-essential goods and promoting exports. Second is saying encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee denominated masala bonds. Third is saying easing conditions relating to external commercial borrowing. And fourth is saying following an expansionary monetary policy. So if the rupee is coming down, which of these steps will not be taken by RBI or government? Okay. So this is, it is saying not the most likely measure. What will be the answer? A, D option, C option. D option. I think most of the people are going for option D. See, the first is saying curbing import of non-essential goods. See, what is the problem here? The slide of Indian rupee means rupee is depreciating. Rupee is depreciating. It means dollar is more there in demand. Rupee is depreciating. Rupee is depreciating. So we have to stop the slide of Indian rupee. Stop the slide means we have to make sure that we are not like demanding more dollar. When do we demand more dollar? We demand more dollar if we have to import something from outside, means we have to pay the dollar. We have to pay the dollar. So here it is saying curbing import of non-essential goods, it can be done. When we promote, we will have more dollar. Second is saying encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee denominated masala bonds. Okay. So when we are not using dollar, then again it is going to help us. So RBI will not stop this. Okay. Third is easing conditions relating to external commercial borrowing. External commercial borrowing means we are borrowing it from outside. When we borrow it from outside, what we will see that we will bring in dollar. It will not create a problem for us. We are getting more dollar, so not creating a problem for us. So these three things are going to be done. Here is following an expansionary monetary policy. In the case of expansionary monetary policy, people will have more and more money. They will try to get more and more foreign goods. It means the demand of dollar is again going to increase. So this is one thing which will not be done by RBI. Hence, this is the correct answer. So we will not be providing people with more and more amount of money so that they can start demanding the foreign goods also. So this fourth option is the correct answer here. One more question. If the RBI decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy, which of the following would it not do? Again, the question is asking not do. Okay. First is cut and optimize the statutory liquidity ratio, increase the marginal standing facility rate, cut the bank rate and repo rate. Okay. So what will not be done by RBI? This is question number 4, that what the RBI will not do if it is following an expansionary policy. Expansionary policy means we are providing more money to the people. We are providing them more money. We want to infuse more money. So what will not be done by RBI in this case? Okay. B option, I think most of the people are going for option number B. B option. Okay. So if we look at this, question, the first one is saying cut and optimize the statutory liquidity ratio, SLR. If we reduce the SLR, if we are reducing the SLR, we see that people will have more money. So this is one step which is going to be done by RBI. If we cut the bank rate and repo rate, again, bank will have more money, people will have more money. So this is a part of expansionary policy. Third is saying increase the marginal standing facility rate. Marginal standing facility rate is basically the rate at which banks are borrowing from RBI if they have already exhausted repo rate method. So if they have already exhausted this portion of repo rate, if they still want more money, then they have the option of marginal standing facility rate. So here it is saying increasing. So if RBI increase it, bank will not borrow the money. If bank will not borrow the money, then liquidity will reduce. So this is one thing which will not be done by RBI. So here the answer is B option, that is 2 only. Okay. So here the answer is B. So these were the 4 questions which we had to discuss from the previous session. Now, one information for all of you. We are having this Adhyan batch for UPSC 2026 aspirants. Okay. So those who are preparing for 26, you can join this for your current affair preparation. We have answer writing here also, coverage of current affairs from January 2025 to mains 2026. So this is one ongoing batch of current affairs. Now, let's come to this one topic, Maoist operation in India, or this Naxalism issue in India. So what we see that there is a report. The report says that more number of women have died in this counter Naxal operations by the security forces. In the counter Naxal operation, what we see that more number of women have been dying in the recent past. If you look at 2019 to 2025, there has been a tremendous increase from 2019 to 25. Over the last 6 years, it has increased from 26% to 42%. It is near about, if you look at this, it is near about like a 50% increase. It is more than 50% increase in itself. So this is one part, that percentage of women who have been killed during the counter Naxal operation, it has been rising. So it is complicating the fight against Naxalism. But in the present times, if we look at the Naxal operations in India, let us take a look at like how much increase or decrease has been there in the recent times. So what we see that in the recent times, Naxalism in India, it has come down. In the recent times, it has been coming down. In 2018, in 2018, the number of Naxal affected districts in 2018, around 126 districts, they were affected by Naxalism in India. Then it has started to reduce, and in April 2024, the number has come down to just 38. So in 2024, this number has come down to 38. So down from 126 to 38. So we see that like Naxal affected regions, they have been reducing. And if we talk about the most affected districts, so in our country right now we have 6 such districts in India. Some of them are there in Jharkhand, a few in Maharashtra. Okay. So what we see that there are 6 districts in India which are highly impacted by Naxalism even as of now. Okay. So there are 6 districts in India heavily impacted by Naxalism. So this is one part. Now, when we talk about the Naxal operations, what we see that there is one positive part. In 2010, around 720 civilians were killed by the Maoist. 720 civilians were killed by Maoist or Naxalist in 2010. Now this number is down to 121 in 2024. Okay. So in 2024, around 121 civilians have been killed by Naxals in 2024. If we talk about security personnel, so what we see that like infrastructure. If we talk about the infrastructure, earlier what was the program of Naxals? If there is a mobile tower, if there is a radio tower, if there is a government building, government infrastructure, so they were just destroying it. So in 2010, there were 365 such incidences. There were 365 such incidences of infrastructure destruction in 2010. Now it has decreased to 25 in 2024. In 2024, there has been 25 such attacks on infrastructure. So this is one part, that the Naxal impact is reducing in India. Over the last 15 years, we have got a good control over Naxalism in India. In fact, the number of cases has also come down. And what is the approach? Like, what is the approach of government? In the left-wing extremism area or Naxal impacted area, there is two rules of government. First is to establish the rule of law. Okay. So first thing is, there is going to be a rule of law. There is going to be a rule of law in Naxal impacted area. Okay. The first thing is, government is trying to make sure that there is no illegal or violent activities in any of the Naxal impacted area or left-wing impacted area, left-wing extremism impacted area. The government is making sure that there is no such any such violent activities taking place in these areas. There is rule of law, law and order is being maintained in that area. So that is first approach. Second approach is to compensate. Okay. if someone has been impacted due to Naxal movement, government is trying to compensate them also. Okay. Compensation, what we see that compensation to Naxal impacted people. If someone has been impacted, due to Naxal, okay, so what we are doing that in the government they're providing compensation to the area, to the people who have been victims of Naxal movements. So that is one thing which we see. Basically, we have got a national action plan, national policy and action plan in 2015. So we have this national plan, national policy and action plan. And see, for this year mains, it is going to be an important topic. We have got this in 2015. It has been 10 years since then. It is 2000. It was launched there in 2015. It has been 10 years since then. So this is going to be one important topic for mains 2025. So in the national policy and action plan, government has decided to do three things, three major parts. One is security. One is security. That modernization of police, giving more and more technology to security forces, empowering them, training them, doing the surveillance of the areas, doing modern technologies, using modern technologies. So this is one part with respect to security. Second part has been development. Development intervention. Second part has been development intervention. And the third important part is about rights and entitlements. About rights and entitlements of local communities. Suppose that if tribals are there, if tribal communities are there, so they are being provided their rights, they are being provided their land. You know that we have this Forest Right Act. So that is also being implemented across the country to make sure that these people are receiving their rights, they are getting their rights. So this is one approach of government: development, security, rights. Okay. So in the security terms, we have use of all the modern technologies, empowerment, fortification of police, like the police stations. All these things are being done under security measures. Then we have development intervention, and then we have this one part, rights and entitlement. So this is being done by the government with respect to Naxalism. And overall, what we see that they have been able to reduce the Naxalism in India. At one point of time, more than 200 plus districts of India were impacted due to Naxalism. I don't know if you have seen a movie or not. There was a very famous movie, Chakravyuh, which was with respect to Naxalism in India. So in that, we have seen this stories of Naxalism and all spreading throughout India. So in the recent past, in the last 15-20 years, government has been actively like taking development measures in Naxal affected areas. They have been trying to provide all those things to the people. They have been trying to provide the roads, school, hospitals, everything to the people, so that in the same country, they don't have to like rise up in rebellion against the government. So that is one thing which has been done by government here. Okay. Yes. So this is one part with respect to Naxalism. Now, coming to the second topic, and a very interesting one, that is Organization for Islamic Cooperation. So it is cooperation. For all future references, it is Organization for Economic Cooperation. So there is one agency, Organization for Islamic Cooperation. This is a country which says that this is a country which says that it is the representative of Muslim world. It is the representative of Islamic world. But its relation with India has not been very good. Despite the fact that India is having one of the largest population of Muslim people in the world. We have one of the largest population of Muslim people in the world. Despite that fact, India is not a member of OIC, and OIC has been very much in support of Pakistan. So there is one country, OIC. If we talk about this, it has been said that it is the second largest intergovernmental organization after United Nations. It has got 57 members. It has got 57 members. Basically, sometimes it is being said that it is nothing but a Saudi-led bloc. It is nothing but a Saudi-led bloc. But we don't write it like Saudi-led bloc. Now, what we see that it says it is the collective voice. It is the collective voice of Islamic world. It is the collective voice of the Islamic world. Now, what we see about this, it is talking about ensuring the safety, the safeguarding the rights of Muslims across the world. But if we talk about this one organization, it is supporting Palestine issue. It is supporting Palestine issue. That is the core agenda. In fact, if you look at this, its core agenda has been about the Palestine issue. Its core agenda has been about the Palestine issue. Over the last 2 years, you may not have heard a single thing from Organization of Islamic Cooperation with what going on in Gaza, Hamas, or Palestine. Okay. So what we see that while it claims to be the voice of Islamic nation, it has failed in its core agenda, that is protection of the people of Palestine. It is talking about protection of Palestine, but in fact, it is more of just a political gesture. No one is coming in support of Palestine, or no one is taking real action. It is just about politics. It is just about making like absurd statements and all. So what we see that it is not taking any major action. In fact, its major goal right now has been about intra-OIC trade promotion. This is one such block or one such group which has been created to oppose, the West domination in the Middle East. They are trying to oppose the domination of Western powers in the Middle East. But if you look at the leader of this, it is Saudi Arabia, the same country which has always been in favor of US. So this is one such block. Now, why there is a controversy? In the part of India, this institution is always in favor of Pakistan. On Kashmir issue. It has always been in favor of Pakistan on Kashmir issue. In 2019, there was one such turnaround of events where we have seen that at that time External Affairs Minister was late Sushma Swaraj. So she was invited at the meeting of OIC. So then it was believed that maybe India will also engage with this OIC in future. But then after what we see that after the abrogation of Article 370 and other, after this abrogation, we see that India has not been that much invited in the meetings of OIC or others. So this is one such country, this is one such group which has always been opposing India. Okay. Its core agenda was Palestine. It is no longer talking about Palestine. It is just making some statements from here to there. In fact, you will find that Iran is much more powerful than entire OIC. Like Iran has the power, Iran has the capacity to withstand the attack from US. But OIC, they have only been making some political statements, and that too not too harsh. So that is one such organization. It has been ineffective during major crisis. There has been crisis in Yemen, it was ineffective. There was crisis in Syria, it has no role in that. There was crisis in Iraq, no role played by it again. So during the major crisis in Islamic world, there has been no single response by this organization. There is a lack of unity among its members also. So they don't have any unity in any sense. And overall, what you will see that they have a very much selective approach to human rights. They have a selective approach to human rights. So it's not that they are concerned about everyone's human rights. So they have a very selective approach to human rights. Okay. So normally they will keep on talking about that human right is being violated here or there. But in many of the Islamic countries also, there are several instances of violation of human rights. But in that case, it is never coming to the front. So that is one such organization, although it claims to be the second largest intergovernmental organization, in true sense, it is a non-functional, non-effective organization. So that's why you may say this, India has slammed this OIC for the incorrect references. Okay. So this is one part. Yes, lack of unity is there, lack of effectiveness is there. This is one part. Okay. Why people become rebellion? There are multiple regions. There is not one region, there is multiple regions. Like there has been, why Naxalism started in India? If we talk about this, that why the Naxalism started in India, just to give you a reference. When India was under British times, so everyone was blaming British that if there is an agriculture crisis, that is due to Britain or British rule. If there is a labor crisis, that is due to Britain, economic crisis due to Britain, political crisis due to Britain, civil rights issue that also due to Britain. So on this ground, everyone came together, everyone became united, and they started fighting for a country which can be free from Britain, which can be free from English. And we were successful in that. We have ousted British from India. So when British were ousted from India, there was so many aspirations among the people. There were so many aspirations among the people. They thought that now it's our own country. So the rules which are being made, they will be good for everyone. The division of resources would become equal. And for initial few years, for initial 10 years, for 15 years, people believed in that idea. That okay, let us give some time. Let us give some time that the government will work for this. The government will provide all the resources. Government will make sure that no one is left out. So this was the promise which was done to the people. But we failed in case of land reform. We failed in providing the development to various sections of society. And due to this, we see that there was rise of a movement from Naxalbari village in West Bengal in 1964. And that took the shape of a very broad movement in form of Naxalism. It is not just a rebellion, it is a rebellion with many causes. Of course, there has been brainwash by many of the leaders. There has been a brainwash by many of the leaders who for their own benefit have manipulated people to become Naxals. But there has been development related challenge also, which has been accepted even by the government. That we failed to provide all these things. We failed to provide the development. That's why people choose the alternative path. If we give them all the resources, if you give them all resources, if you give them employment, if you give them opportunity, why would someone hang a gun on their shoulders and will keep on just going on or roaming on through the jungles, through the forests? So why they will do that? Everyone wants to sit comfortably in their house. Everyone wants a meal of 2 times and a happy and healthy family. If they are going out in forest, many of them had no option. That's why it starts. Okay. Yes. So there is a selective approach of Organization of Islamic Cooperation. That is also the challenge. So now we are coming to the third part. We are coming to this portion of private sector in space. We are coming to this topic of private sector in space. So what we see that in the recent times, from 2020 onwards, government has started to focus on participation, of private sector in the space. Okay. Government has started focusing on private sector of space. Okay. So let us talk about this. Okay. Let us talk about this issue. Now tell me, do you know about any company of the private sector which has been involved in space activity in the recent times? Can you give me some example? In the recent times, any involvement from private sector? Any example? SpaceX. No, aerospace. I am talking about the Indian companies, not the foreign ones. Not the foreign ones. I am talking about Indian companies. Aerospace, Indian startups. I am asking about the Indian startups related to space sector. Indian startup in space sector. Agnikul Cosmos is there. Yes. Agnikul Cosmos is there. Skyroot is there. Correct. So Agnikul Cosmos, Skyroot, they are some of the major startups. Okay. They are some of the major startups which has been there in India with respect to space sector. Now, we have started this one policy of privatization of space sector in India. Okay. And what we see that in the recent times, there has been sufficient growth. Nowadays, we see that there is around 330 plus startups in India. There are 330 plus startups in India with respect to space sector. With respect to this space sector. We also see that if we talk about Indian space sector, if we talk about the Indian space sector, it is growing at an enormous rate. In financial year 2025-26, in FY 25-26, it is expected to cross 13,000 crore rupees. Okay. It is in fact expected to cross 13,416 crore. Now, just to give you a hint, in 13-14, this was at a scale of 5,000 crore. So it has become more than double. In last 10 years, it has become more than double, from 5,000 crore to 13,000 crore. And in fact, it is going to rise further high. So space sector in India is getting privatized. It is increasing. Although it is not at a very mature stage. Right now you can see it is at a developing stage. It is in the nascent phase. We have not reached the zenith. We have not reached a good position. We are just there in the beginning. But it is a promising field. It is a promising sector. Okay. So in the recent past, what steps has been done? What steps has been done by the government? Okay. If we talk about this, like how government has been talking about this. Okay. First thing is, government is giving the power to do this satellite bus and payload manufacturing. Okay. So there is an agency of government which is called as InSpace. There is an agency of government called as InSpace. So this is promoting the private sector to manufacture satellite bus and payload manufacturing. It is also helping them for launch vehicle production. There is this New Space India Limited, which is also helping the private sector to go for production of launch vehicles. Then we see that even the ground segments and application, that has also been provided to the private sector. Okay. So around ground segment and application, that has also been provided. Again, you can see around 1 lakh fishing vessel monitoring system. We are going to have an establishment of 1 lakh fishing vessel monitoring system, and that is going to be done with the help of private sector. So this is one part. At the same time, we are also talking about technology transfer. We are also talking about this technology transfer, like the SSLV, small satellite launch vehicle. So we are talking about transferring the SSLV technology. In fact, we are also providing this flexibility to the private sector that they can have their own navigation system. Even the Earth observation systems can also be there with the help of private sector. Earth observation means the one which is used for weather monitoring, cartography, then oceanography or various other regions. So when we are doing all these space related works, we are encouraging private sector in them. Now the question is why? Why we want to have more and more private sector here? Why do we want to encourage more private sector in the space area? Why do we want to have them? Why do we want to have this like private sector in the space? Yes, Agnikul is also there. Correct, Shikha? अध्ययन बैच का स्टूडेंट तो कोई ये क्लास 1 घंटे डेली आप दे सकते हो. अमित, यू कैन गिव 1 hour पर डे बिकॉज इट विल हेल्प यू इन प्रैक्टिस एंड रिवीजन. English. The day Government of India accept English as one of the scheduled languages in the Constitution, I will start in English. It's not my power. Okay. The day government starts recognizing English as one of the official languages, we will start having class in English. See, FA online classes, we are having one in Hindi also. We are having one class in Hindi also and English also. Because the work, no. See, Shiv Shankar, be very much cautious in this part. Okay. The way ISRO and space sector in India has been working, its efficiency has been more than some of the private sectors. So in all the government sectors, you cannot impose the same cut and paste part. That for every government sector, you cannot say that they have not been working efficiently. In fact, ISRO has been one of those agencies of government which is setting an example for all other agencies. So you cannot say that part. Okay. What we see that we need to have more and more investment in this sector. We need to have more and more investment in this sector. we can bring cost efficiency. We can bring cost efficiency. We can generate more employment. We can generate more employment. ISRO, if we talk about ISRO, it can focus on core research and development. Like suppose that if we have to go for interplanetary mission, like suppose there is any company, let us say any private sector, so they have no incentive if they are planning mission to Jupiter, Saturn or Pluto. So they have no incentive in doing that, because no one is caring about this part, that if a private company is going to Saturn or Pluto, what benefit it will get. So that is a part of research and development. So this is something which is being done by the public agencies. This is something which is done by public agencies for academic purposes, for research purposes. So it cannot be done by the private sector. Now, if ISRO is busy in just launching satellites, so how it will focus on core research and development? So ISRO needs to focus on core research and development. That's why ISRO will focus there, and private sector will cater to the market needs. Okay. So another part is huge demand for space services. Huge demand for space services. There is increasing demand of the space sector, increasing demand of space-based services. So that's why we need other players to come forward in this and to provide these services and to provide these facilities. So that's why we are going for privatization. Okay. So this is one part, that why we are going for private sector involvement in the space sector. So this is our third topic about private sector in space. Now, I hope that is clear why we are having them in our space sector, why we are having it, why we are having these private sectors in our space. I hope this part is clear. Innovation can be there. So now we have this one editorial. We have also got this one editorial which is about South Asian economic integration. This one article is talking about South Asian economic integration. So what we see that, let me show you certain data. This is saying that under the South Asian free trade area, there is only 5 to 7% of total trade. If we talk about the South Asian countries, their internal trade, when we talk about the countries here, we have India, we have Bangladesh, we have Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. So these are the countries of South Asia. So when we talk about their internal trade, so in terms of the total trade which is being done by them, the internal trade is only 5 to 7%. In case of European Union, it is 45%. In case of ASEAN, intra-member trade is 22%. In case of NAFTA, it is 25%. Okay. So what we see that the trade between the North Atlantic free trade regions or free trade areas, North Atlantic free trade regions, the area, North American free trade region of US and Canada and others. Okay. So that region plus the European Union plus the ASEAN, if you look at their trade volume, it is quite high. In fact, for European Union, you can see it is 45%. So almost half of their trade is happening within those countries itself. It is happening within those countries itself. But in South Asia, the integration is quite low. Okay. It is having 25% of world population, but its GDP is just about 5 trillion. Okay. And you will find that in fact the 5 trillion, out of the 5 trillion, 4 trillion is of India. 4 trillion is of India, and the remaining one, all the countries put together. So when we talk about this area, its population, the population of this area, it is near about 25% of world. But if we look about the GDP, the combined GDP is just about 5 trillion. And in fact, the majority of the portion of this is of India only. So what we see that, like, the trade of these regions is not flourishing. The trade between the countries is not there. Like, if we talk about India and Pakistan, although the trade is at a minimal level, the trade still exists, but a very minimal level. The total trade between India and Pakistan has been only $1.2 billion. It is only $1.2 billion. So we have a very minuscule trade with Pakistan. Similarly, the trade with Bangladesh is also decreasing now. The trade with other countries, it is not also at a very high level. So the question is, why? Why there is a lack of integration? So can you tell me that why this region of South Asia, why they are not having so much of trade? What is the reason? Like, why it is not occurring? Why we are not having the trade within South Asia? I think everyone knows this answer. Everyone can answer this part, that why we are not having trade in the South Asia region. What are the regions? If we are talking about India and the South Asia region, yes, one is cross-border disputes. Yes, political stability is also there. So we have certain things, like there is one thing called as trust deficit. If you look at these countries, if you look at the countries of South Asia, there is a trust deficit among the countries. There is also political instability. There is also this political instability. There is also boundary disputes. Historical controversies. Historical controversies. Then again, there is one interference, and that interference by China. Interference by China, US, and others. So in fact, if you look at South Asia is strategically very prominent area. South Asia is a very prominent strategic area. Why? You can see on one side we have Arabian Sea, on one side we have Bay of Bengal and access with Strait of Malacca, and then we have the entire Indian Ocean region. So if you look at South Asia, it is in the middle of Arabian Sea, from where Suez Canal, Persian Gulf, the entire world of the ocean is passing through this area. On the eastern side also, we have the Strait of Malacca, and then the Indian Ocean. So South Asia is in fact in a very strategic position. But there has been political rivalries, there has been historical controversies, and the world has never allowed this region to settle their own disputes. They have always been taking sides. They have always been like provoking one against each other. And as a region of this entire area has remained like divided. This area has remained divided. First, it was being done by United States. Nowadays, it is being done by China. But as a result of all these things, The main thing is this area has remained divided. We have not been able to unite, and as a result of that, economic development in this region is very low. And you know that concept, poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. So a poverty in one country is creating issues for other countries also. Like if there is poverty in Bangladesh, there is going to be migration from there. If there is poverty in Pakistan, there is going to be terrorism over there. In similar way, from Nepal also, other countries also, there has been continuous smuggling, continuous from Myanmar regions, from Bangladesh, insurgents have been coming into India. So it is a challenge for India also, and the other countries which are there, none of them are in a very good shape. Whether we talk about Pakistan, like Pakistan can keep on saying to the world that we are very good, we are very good. But they also know the reality that they have no funds, they have no resources, how the people of the world are treating them. The same goes with Bangladesh nowadays. Bangladesh was going on a good trajectory of development. But then again, the internal politics, the lack of democratic institutions, again has crippled Bangladesh economy. Same goes with Myanmar. Then Sri Lanka is also facing political crisis. In all these countries, you will find one common thing. There has been a lack of political maturity. There has been divisive politics there. There has been a politics of division in those countries, and as a result of that, the countries has remained unstable. Lack of strong institutions is also one of the major challenge. So this is one part which we see in case of South Asia. So there is also a political deficit. You can also count that a political deficit or shortcomings. So as a result of all these things, what we see that the South Asian region has remained unstable. The South Asian region has remained economically divided. So the true potential of this area has not been realized. So that is one thing which we see about South Asia. Okay. So this is one part we see about South Asia in the recent past. Okay. So that is also one of the topic, that why South Asia is not integrated. As per the challenge, you can mention the solution also, that we need to have solutions to all those things. Okay. Now, one last part, that is with respect to the places in news. So there is one region which is going to be famous now, and that is Al Udeid. Okay. Al Udeid region. This is there in Qatar. And what we have seen that it is the headquarter. It is the headquarter for US Central Command. Okay. It is the headquarter for US Central Command. And what we have seen that, like, Iran has attacked on this area, it has destroyed the airbase. It is around in 24 hectares, and there are more than 10,000 troops of US in this area. So Iran has attacked on US bases in Qatar, also in Iraq. They have also attacked in Iraq. So that is one war which is going on. So we have again one name, okay, although not very much prominent, but these days UPSC is asking anything. Okay. So keep this one thing also in mind. Okay. Here we have Doha. Here we have the Doha. Okay. This is Qatar. Here we have Bahrain, okay, and Saudi Arabia. So there has been attacks by Iran in Qatar, in the military base of US, and also in Iraq. So that is one ongoing thing. Okay. Let's see and hope that it is settled. Okay. So that is all. That is all with respect to the places which have been there in the news. It has been announced. It has been announced by this US president that there is going to be a ceasefire. In fact, news is also coming up that Israel also wants ceasefire. So Let's see, let's hope that the ceasefire is there, because we know that West Asia is very important for us. West Asia is also very prominent for us also. So I hope that is clear. And in fact, Iran is a very important country for India. Iran is important for various strategic regions. We have talked about this in the last class also. Any question, any doubt? This is the location of the entire West Asia. You can see here we have Iran, Iraq, Qatar. Okay. This is Israel portion. So they are continuously fighting. We have already seen that what are the countries neighboring Iran. Okay. We have already talked about that in the previous session, the countries which are bordering Iran. So that will be all for today. Let's meet tomorrow and hope that by tomorrow the war is concluded, that there is a ceasefire and there is no further human loss. Okay. So that will be all for today. Thank you very much. Take care and all the best. Thank you.